Talk about a perfect map to start for Oasis as well. If he does land Jeff throughout this pick and ban, can easily split off some of those characters off the map, give your team the advantage. But that depends on where the pick and ban goes, because of course it has been a very up and down one that we've seen so far today. Dog, a lot of different strategies being implemented at the start of stage 1 here, as I'm sure they will continue to develop as we move on. You can already see the initial bans coming through. Gambit on the side of Swamp, and it is going to be Devil Dinosaur on the side of Sentinels.
All right. I mean, yeah, kind of what we saw last series, the prioritization towards the Devil Dino, whereas Gambit, focused on by Swamp Gaming. They understand that you kind of have to play Gambit if it's available, like the Bacon said.
Wait,
and
they're doing like a whole new
opposite side. So it's an interesting sort of difference opinion after that Gambit gets banned. Maybe we go back over to, Days onto that Daredevil, for example, but obviously trying to focus on the Devil Dino. Maybe Sentinels can play it a little bit better than the last series we saw with Equinox. I mean, they had to even swap off the Devil Dino at a certain point composition-wise, but for Swamp Gaming, I'm curious what they're going to ban out to maybe stop the potential, full sort of cohesive brawl comp that we're surely going to see out of Sentinels, and it's going to be Luna Snow first off for them, and maybe it's going to be something like the White Fox later on, or potentially more strats.
Yeah, whether you want to target the back line just completely here from Swamp Gaming potentially, or you want to look towards the Vanguards. Crimzo, Dongman were very good on Captain America, very good on Magneto, very good on Groot, Vanpool. Like, they had a very deep pool, so maybe it's too difficult to try and target those Vanguards, so it is going to be continuing to target the strategist back line, getting rid of Mantis. There's going to be a protect on the side of Sentinels for Invisible Woman, so I think that makes sense. When you see that the back line's being targeted, you're just like, okay, let's make sure we lock in the Invisible Woman so we can have that invisible boundary available to her.
Yeah, I mean, that's I think it's a smart swap. You want to keep one of these, strats in the back line. Maybe go
What's
for
the
that
difference
Loki
between
as
Convoy
well.
and Convergence? Are they not the same thing?
How good
No.
that character could be as well. Considering if you have all
Convoy
that
is
support, if you have all
push
the
the
strats
payload,
kinda
but
helping you,
Convergence is
kinda
a
makes sense.
hybrid.
You want to get rid of it,
which is
and
you cap a
Daredevil
point
as well,
and then
considering
you
for
have
the
to push the point.
Black Cat early. You got to remove some of those potential, dive characters. Although
Ian
we could
Pulse,
still
it's
see
probably
Wolverine
because
and
you
stuff come
just
through for Swamp
subbed
Gaming
and
side. But for Sentinels,
they probably win
we'll see what the
before you
last ban
sub.
is. It's going to be Star-Lord. Just trying to get rid of stuff that's good with Gambit. Also, that can set up these heavy dives. Whereas for you, it looks like a lot of the bans have come through trying to stop a ton of these characters that do well around the pocket of Devil Dino and these brawl styles.
Yeah, and I think getting the protect onto Daredevil is going to be a big one for Swamp Gaming here as well. We saw what Days can do on Daredevil. Yes, he was predominantly on Wolverine because he's just insane when he is on Wolverine as well, but the fact you can then switch over to Daredevil whenever he needs, very difficult to play up against, and I think Swamp Gaming will be very happy about that pick and ban for them as well. On the side of Sentinels, they do get the Devil Dino. So again, we get to see our fantastic difference of who gets the better off. Are you happier with the Devil Dino, or are you happier with Gambit on your side as well? Of course, in the previous
Why don't we
matchup,
have
it was
8 bans?
SSG
Why is it
who were able
reserved
to
for
get
pro
better
play?
in
It's
the
not
end.
8
It was
bans, it's
Gambit
4
who
per
won
team.
out over
In
the
ranked,
Devil
you get 3
Dinosaur.
per team.
But Sentinels, with the way that they play and their play style
Also,
in
the difference
particular,
between
I do
your
think
ranked
Devil
game
Dino
and
is
then
going to
pro
be the
play,
perfect
well,
addition to how
one's
they
actually
prepare.
trying to win and one's your ranked
absolutely.
games.
In this squad, this matchup as well is just going to be an incredibly fun one, like you mentioned. With Sentinel's brand new lineup, I mean, I didn't think that their supports necessarily were a problem. Their strategists were necessarily an issue last time. I mean, I know they had.
I don't agree with putting.
Interesting.
Why do they
fill-ins with
put
Mirror
Ryan
and
Mazing
stuff,
on
but
support each
Oasis is,
time?
like you
He's a
mentioned,
goated
really good strat player.
DPS.
Also
Did we
really
not
good
learn
on the
during
Jeff, like you
preseason?
said.
Oh, Chad,
Sentinels always love to play the triple strat line.
I'm
Alongside, they have Ryan Mazing on that White Fox, who showed a very strong White Fox last time. Whereas SG running their 2-2-2 style with, like you mentioned before, that Rocket Raccoon coming out for them.
SG with one of the best backlines in the world. I'm very excited to see how they get this done, but a lot of my eyes are going to be on Days as Daredevil as well, seeing if he can get some of these early picks in favor. But it is actually going to be Crimzo onto Krasman. It's going to be some Captain America on America action. And is it going to be now the chance for Sentinels just to really force their way through with this Devil Dino just getting up in the face of SG here with the extra player on the map? And the answer looks like yes at the moment. That laser beam doing so much damage. You're flying up in the air. You used to be able to be a bit more comfortable. But against this Devil Dino, you are not comfortable whatsoever anymore.
And they keep setting up these flanks. They want to make sure they're at least leaving as soon as the priority's on the side of SG. But point already controlled by Sentinels. Dogman has to fall back with the priority on him. Kraz comes down, slam dunk from the cap, but it's disengaged again. Nobody down just yet. Dogman does eventually fall to Scatter, who walked up, gets full charge, smokes that Dinosaur. Oasis also falls So nice work just to walk towards Sentinel's side and not really have anybody go down early, prioritize that Devil Dino, and get the fight win immediately.
Did you poke the bear a little bit against Krasman? With him falling first, he comes back with a vengeance. As now Swamp Gaming are going to be able to take this point and start to score. Swamp Gaming just have such a deep hero pool, which I think is very difficult to play up against as well if you're any roster. When you think you're comfortable, you think you found the way to beat them, they just bring something out. Now, Melophobia does have the Ensong Inferno available and will use it as well alongside Daze just to try and do a little bit of damage on that backline, but no pick found initially as Daze just trying to escape at the moment rather than actually being able to deal the damage he wanted to on said backline. As SG still now ticking away up to 32% as Valentina is going to pop that Raging Royal Flush and allow SG to try and utilize it to push forward and press back
on 3 people.
The Sentinels reads it, goes to the invisible boundary, but that might just be what SG wanted, as they just have to fall back to the point now, not try to go down. Also work around the Rocket Pack if they want the res. The Rocket Raccoon pick has actually been quite interesting, and User gets the lead out of the sky, but the Rocket Raccoon finally going to whip out the guns in this meta. And with a damage boost, pops the ultimate onto the White Fox, but once these ults are gone, it's going to be all on Oasis, but they're all brought in by the Sonic Seduction to go down. And with that, there's Jeffel. I mean, where's it even going to be? Oasis just going to try to leave probably, as that's every straddle used for Sentinel's side to no avail.
And that is the power of Emma Frost as well. The Sonic Seduction is just so good at drawing in some of those backline heroes and then just neutralizing them instantly, and then you just almost guaranteed win on that fight. Melo's been able to get Ensong Inferno again already, by the way. And we know how good Melo can be. 4-time MVP last season, or last preseason, should I say? And now
yes,
you're going to see that
Corona
Ensong
was
Inferno
benched
come
in
out.
the preseason chat.
Oh! And it's going to be a double bubble onto Oasis and Rymazing, wiping them off the map. And SG continue to press their advantage. Yes, Daze has gone down, but it doesn't matter because Melophobia is just making it a triple.
I mean, I think the Phoenix ban has been beautiful because you get this one-sided Phoenix alongside just having Rocket Raccoon be untouchable. Ladle from Usher, and no portal either coming back to spawn. They just want to go next. It's interesting that he even decided to pop that. Maybe he just expected the portal to be there. Kind of weird, kind of interesting, but SG dominated. I mean, just from start to finish, Gask, that was a beautiful first round. And now we're going to Warrior Falls where, I don't know, man, what do you do to stop this if you're Sentinels?
It is a slightly better position on the map for Jeff, of course, but at the same time, with what SG have been doing at the moment, like, Daze and Melo, as the duelists, have been working together so well. Daze pushes in, pressures the backline, does a little bit of damage, and as soon as you have those initial ticks of damage, it just opens up the Ensong Inferno to be the finisher onto the backline, deletes them completely, and then you're going to win. And then on the other side, you've got Scatter Genji just absolutely on a tear as well, with the Psionic Seduction, which again
Chat, you guys know,
just drawing in those backliners and not allowing Sentinels really to play their game. They've been really struggling, and SG have just been utilizing their ultimate economy far
You
too
guys know my
successfully,
thoughts, bro.
so
Get
far.
Rymazing, take him off the support, put him on DPS because he has a nasty fucking Daredevil. I don't know why we aren't using him on Daredevil, and then put Kurova in, and that's how they won.
You know, we've gone through so many strat
But hey,
bans that
people
it's
aren't
just
ready
going to
for the
be,
truth.
you know, obviously maybe not the focal
People
point
don't
of the
want to
heroes you
hear
want
the
to play. You know, playing the Mantis or something alongside the Luna, you're kind of sent back even further in that ban phase, maybe. And for Swamp Gaming, they're totally happy just playing that front-to-back style because they have the healing pocket of Forky Dog, who's coming up on his ult, and Kraz to stall it out. So this is going to be a really hard fight for Sentinels due to their ult charge disadvantage.
I think the scary thing for Swamp Gaming is how many times last season did they get away with having a Gambit, having a Captain America, and speaking of Valentina, she was like, yeah, I was able to get Gambit. I shouldn't have been able to get Gambit. You're going to get even more in this season with how things are going on these bans because the Devil Dino is so scared of as Daze is able to get into a position where you can potentially be a detriment and thorn in the side to the back line of Sentinels here as initially the point goes in SG's way yet again, and it's going to be Krasman using that Freedom Charge to force them back once more. But at least you will see the Raging Royal Flush on the other side thanks to Flamay using that Loki ult.
Yeah, do like the Devil Dino's able to take advantage of the copy, find Daze, but again, the res brings back Daze, and they traded immediately.
Oh my God.
Israel firepower, because Melophobia with the fire drops down from the sky. Ensong Inferno shuts out Sentinels. Combo done, Sentinels back to spawn.
Ensong Inferno is just so good. Even with the kind of the change on the numbers of how much damage it deals, you just need to be in sync with the rest of your team. Wait for that initial little bit of damage to be done, and the follow-up is just beautiful. Melo having the best day ever at the moment. It's just so free for him to be able to delete the characters on the side of Sentinels, and they need to find something different here, but the Psionic Seduction is going to be available for Scatter Genji as well. So sadly for Sentinels, it might go from bad to worse here if they start to get sucked in and then get deleted once more.
Yeah, for sure. Can't get caught in the open. Scatter pops the ult to slow down Crimzo and crew, who's kind of using that capital early just to stall out the objective, at least force them away. But they've got nothing after this, right? No Shroud ults. So surely be going with something, right, to go aggressive. But again, they're getting picked apart by Daze in the flank. Has to come back. Cooldown's used, but Daze, oh my goodness, the movement.
No, Crimzo does
like
not only play
but it's
Cat,
Daredevil. This
but,
case, super.
Crimzo's really good at Cat.
Finds Kraz on the opposite side, same with Scatter. So the dive comes through, finally able to take advantage of the fact there's no Shroud ults on the opposite side. And they get 80% on the board, at least. Swamp Gaming's back to spawn. Sentinels get their first fight win.
Let the Devil Out is available, but Daze just waiting, says they don't really need to use it right now because they can happily let Sentinels hold the point temporarily, as Daze is actually going to avoid Crimzo, who was on the hunt, but plenty of ult available for Sentinels as well. Galactic Legend definitely going to be a focus point for Yusha, just to try and delete the likes of their back line, see if you can take out 14 Valentina. And there is Yusha, again, just being very difficult to try and take down. Great movement from Star-Lord indeed.
Yeah, they're all looking to disengage right now, but we need to have a good full location. Here comes the Devil, invisible boundary popped, but it's not on the point, I believe. So the KOs potentially can come through. Defense coming out from them. Dongmin gets a big bite out of Daze's face, but he gets res back. The 4-key flank comes through on that Rocket Raccoon. Captain America helps stall things out
why
too
did
for
Phoenix
this
Primary give
Dinosaur
up?
who is running rampant towards the objective.
The
with the
devs
ult,
said not a lot of people
too.
land their
4-key also
primary
goes down.
fires,
Excellent work to
so
track down the Rocket Raccoon.
they
Finally,
actually
Sentinels have
wanted to
strung together
buffer
a few
primary.
fights.
Yeah, this is far better from Sentinels, but
They said not a lot of people were hitting their
SG
shots.
Did they change anything up to try and get a little bit of a break here, Swamp? But it looks like they're sticking with what they've gone through so far.
I
It
hate
is going to be a bit of a
gambling. How do
neutral
you
at the
hate
moment.
gambling?
No
I
ults
told
available on
you who
either
was going
side,
to win.
and we know
I
how
said
good Swamp
vote
Gaming can
Swamp
be in that
Gaming, and
neutral,
you put your
especially
money
with
on
Melophobia
Sentinels.
that
How do you...
Phoenix. All it takes is one
That
hit,
you have
and
no one to
suddenly they
blame
could be
but
right back on top of
yourself.
things here. But Scatter Genji is, of course, going to lead the way onto the side of Emma. But you are just walking down a tunnel at the moment, and so much damage coming from the other side. It's actually Forky Dog who gets the first ult. But look at this angle from Melophobia. It's going to be a slap and a wallop onto the dinosaur, and just doing so much damage with a lot of stun happening as well, forcing them back out of their position.
I want to see this guy's
Dongmin's trying to
accuracy.
hide under the bridge from that of Melophobia. Like I said, the body is so big. See you later goes aggressive into the back line. Invisible boundary also met by Flamme. They still have control of that objective too. Look at the Devil Dinosaur just kind of securing it. Crimzo and Yusha go through fine too as well. That combo, Yusha's looked great so far, but BRB brings him back in the fight. Scatter slows down everybody with this Sonic Seduction, but it's actually not really getting that much value necessarily. This is Dongmin in his face, just biting away, trying to get that overhealth. They're trying to get rid of him, but it's Yusha again with Crimzo on these dives. It's looked so good. They find one in the middle of the fight. And Song Inferno comes out by Melo, gets met by Dongmin, who just blocked it. And this time the Dinosaur wins against the Meteor. We're going to round number 3.
So much better from Sentinels as well. As soon as they got control, they looked so much more comfortable at being able to deny SG, and they always found a way to be on top of the ultimate economy as well.
I think you're supposed to touch the point, by the way, chat. I'm not so sure. I'm not a professional player, but I think you want to stay on the point.
From SG to try and recover something. But we have a map on our hands.
You guys confirm or deny?
In the first set, but sadly for SG,
wow, Melophobia. I thought he was a good player. He's 14-1, but he has a 0% accuracy. Oh no, never mind. He has a 61% accuracy.
SG, but a very well played second round from Sentinels.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was really, honestly, straight up on Crimzo and Yusha. I think I was pleasantly surprised. I think somebody that has a lot to prove in this group stage and in the entire stage 1 is Crimzo. I think that he's kind of on the hot seat alongside Ryan now. They've been there for so long, have done it with so many people. And, you know, Crimzo, I think he's had a good group. His cap has been solid. But I think specifically that cap dive has looked beautiful. And if they can keep it up, especially with the cheese portal play kind of on the backside, if Yusha can keep doing what he's doing with Crimzo, I have a lot of hope, I think, for the Sentinel squad.
Good portal coming out here as well, just to try and really deny the initial push and maybe try and cut off a couple of the players. Were they successful is going to be the real question. It looks like they might have just been off on that timing, but they are going to be able to get a pure 6v6 happening in front of our very eyes. As Yusha is going to have Galactic Legend available as well, but not going to pop it just yet. Instead, just going to try and deal a little bit of damage on the other side. Valentina does have Rage and Royal Flush available to try and take this first point. And Swamp Gaming might have learned they need this first point as the visible boundary will get popped.
But I like this. I mean, Sentinels isn't getting baited, right? The rocket flies up to the height. Nobody getting caught out. They knew the Raging Royal Flush was coming. So intelligently played. Sentinels didn't want to use anything, forcing that ult. Daze still on the high side, but this time, actually, sorry, they did use the invisible boundary, but we have nothing on the opposite angle. Fly could also use ult in the sky. Yo, no, it's not legendary. It's Melophobia in the high ground. Takes down User in the sky, and that was so much damage removed for Sentinels. And now, what looked to be a smart play is slowly
Couldn't
falling
even
apart.
finish the voice line, bro.
But they don't have Flame A afterwards. Dongmin trying to go in aggressive, but... And Song Inferno comes through with the Devil on the low ground. Daze comboing with his own duelist on the opposite angle. Finds one. Does get bit and brought into Crimzo. So at least they're trading, but honestly, it may be a bit of a bait fight for the side of Sentinels as Swamp Gaming slowly have won even further.
Yeah, and they've scored a lot as well. In the meantime, up to 40% already. What I was going to say is Sentinels have done very well with their strat ults, kind of voiding Valentina's Raging Royal Flush at times, and deleting the ability of Daze coming through with the Daredevil ult as well. He's not been able to really let the Daredevil out to full effect. That being said, SG are leading, and they're up to 50% now as Crimzo just trying to force Krasman and Daze back, but they're going to work together to try and give him the double team, but he's able to get away, you'd think.
Wait, what?
But really, this is going to open up a lot of space elsewhere on the map, so you have to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, they're so far out. That's a good call out, and has the copy. No, oh my god, he has to cancel it because he got him the Daredevil, and it's late now. Oasis gets taken out. Oh my goodness. What a body block. I don't know if that was on purpose by Daze, but that split second ready to cancel the ult copy.
Bro, Sentinels, bro, Sentinels. Oh
Gaming.
No, man.
Could
They
just
gotta
win
get
the
the
round, could just win the map, to be completely honest, because time is now against Sentinels, and they are being pressured. They have been staggered, and they're going to get one last push. It's already up to 90% as they try and force their way out and bully their way through. But SG are holding successfully, and they have Psionic Seduction and the Raging Royal Flush available to them. Surely this is going to be Swamp Gaming's round. There comes the Raging Royal Flush. Endong Inferno also comes out as Melo gets the opener onto Oasis. And now Sentinels, sadly, are just not going to be able to push through. The Freedom Charge will be a last-ditch attempt, but it's not going to be there as SG, Swamp Gaming, will take the first map.
Do you guys think they're going to
Excellent
learn their
work
lesson?
by the side of Swamp Gaming. I think once the map opened up, they looked a lot better, right?
Kurova
in, same thing. The Phoenix got a lot of value.
Amazing.
Same thing
He's
with
a great
the round number
player.
3, right? It's just that
Put him on
second
DPS
round where it was easier to maybe bunker up, maybe play on this low-key, not have to use cooldowns early. But again, the ult timings just weren't there for Sentinels. It was going to be hard. Like you said, they had really good ult timings in the second round. But ever since it was like the ult rotation swap back to Rymazing have to counter a lot of these like duelist ults, even with the greens from the Loki, it wasn't enough. So Swamp Gaming, excellent work. And I can see why they lost the second round, but still 100 out on the other two. So Burn and T'Challa went their way. And now I'm scared, I think, for Sentinels, considering we're going to either a Convoy or Convergence. You have to pick one that you're very strong on, but we'll have to see what they pick after this short break.
2 months, my friend. No, chat, stop being mean, bro. Stop being mean. Stop. All they need to do is stop. I don't know what is wrong with Sentinels or who's calling their shots, but I do not. They are the ones who practice, chat. I don't know what they're practicing, but they need to stop that triple support shit, bro. I'm sorry. Go 2-2-2 and put Rymazing on like Daredevil. Daredevil was not banned for them. He is such a great DPS player. I don't know why they're trying to force him on support. I don't know why. And I don't know about you, but the best coach out there, what's his name, chat? The best coach out there, his name is, oh yeah, forgot, Guang. He statistically said that 2-2-2 was the way to go. Statistically speaking, 2-2-2. Hey. Oh. Do you mean remix? What do you mean, do I mean... chat, bro, remix didn't even ban Elsa the whole preseason, and they were getting stomped because of it. What do you... What? Listen, I love iRemix, but isn't there a meme going around on him on, like, you know, working at McDonald's? Fucked up, man. But, hey, McDonald's is a fine establishment. They do really well. Okay, sick. And then we're going, we're catching up here. Yeah, I haven't had Emily doesn't let me eat McDonald's, even though I love their fries. Oh, McDonald's is the type of food that you like crave in the moment and then you eat it and then you regret it afterwards. It's almost like, yeah, never mind. I'm not, yeah. Did YWL won? No. Did TLC play Vest well, or was he benched? They did play Vest, and they won. I think they 2-0 to YWL, right? JP Smile for 11 months. Appreciate it, my friend. I swear to God, if Sentinels go triple support next game, chat, I'm calling it a GG's, bro. Sorry. Oh, shit, we're back. Okay, we're back, chat. We're back.
Hello and welcome back to our match number 3, map number 2 after Swamp Gaming looks all the same part that we saw from the preseason. And I got to be honest, first I want to say if I
I'll tell you what.
to see triple strat and Amazing not on the duel, I'm
I'd rather eat McDonald's than lasagna.
But I do want to continue to see Swamp Gaming get more love because these players have so much talent. I mean, Daze and Mellow, just to name 2 of them, are some of the best in roles, and we just don't talk about them enough. That legendary shut down at a snap of a finger.
Why is Cozy so bright? Because he's an angel?
He's him, dude. They're both
don't
really
you ever
good.
Disrespect Cozy.
I think this duelist lineup, he talked about it best in the entire game, basically. Just not talked about a lot because they keep coming in second, right? You know, it's unfortunately sort of never the bride, always the bridesmaid kind of situation for them. And, you know, I think for this squad, you know, they'll keep improving. But, you know, this is a good way to do it, considering how, like you said, Amazing not being able to play onto the duelist, not going to the Black Cat because it's banned. Or the Daredevil, for example. But it's kind of the same thing with, like, yeah, we lost. Like, we talked about how good Zatex was on the Elsa last season. He was just on Mantis duty the whole time when we saw, yeah, we lost.
Look at Cozy's face. You pissed him off by saying, why does he look so bright? Don't disrespect Cozy.
Well, taking a look at the MVP, and again, you said it. There's only one legend on the play. It was Mello, who was feasting on, let's face it, a hit-scan hero that is thriving and on absolute fire.
24 and 1, 40,000 damage, and a 64% accuracy.
In the ult, but besides that, an overall buff gain on one of the most iconic X-Men, and now duelist in America. 64% accuracy is absolutely disgusting. But Gaskin, I want to throw it to you and talk about Sentinels for a moment, right?
Fabre
led into it.
Appreciate the massive prime sub as well, my friend.
Amazing, which is great. But we saw it with Speedery. The chains, the shackles were let free. Is that it? Is that the reason you got vision on the bit? There's so much you can look at here as a team. And what do you want to see?
I do think that, again, it's down to experimentation a little bit. It looked like it was going to be all good going into the second round of that map, right? They were like, oh, okay, they figured it out. And then suddenly you get slapped around again to 100-0. But that's kind of what
40,000 damage. 12,000, 17,000, 14,000, 5,000, 6,000, 14,000. Bro, he by himself did as much damage as like 5 or 6, maybe even 6 or 7 of their teammates, chat. Yes, even though they only have 6 players on their team. That's crazy, bro.
Just impact, but wasn't quite enough comparatively, especially the ultimate just kept getting shut down time and time again. Whereas the Ensong Inferno was doing bits just with the link-up play, making sure that some of the backline was weak, and then you slam home for a double.
Listen, Dogman, I think one of the big things is the flexibility of trying to get a new team to get going together, especially in the strategist front. This team has now had, 4? We've seen a lot of people come into this role and try to fit in here. Oasis is now the newest member, right? Obviously, we know Kurova. Winnie, I think, was the other. We've had a lot play for this back in the preseason, too. Do you think that is a little bit of what the identity is, just trying to find themselves? Like, who is Sentinels as of, stage 1? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it is. And, honestly, I think the problem is that they've kind of been banning out as we go to Museum of Contemplation and then to the ban phase in a second. I just think that we need to ban out more Vanguards if we're going to go for that Daredevil or that Devil Dino ban, because just going going for that one-sided Devil Dino.
My mom asked my dad to make her lasagna for Mother's Day. Hashtag stop the lasagna
I
hate. I'm going to tell you what. Some relationships, in your case, your mom is testing your dad. If your dad follows through to what your mom said, that means low key it was a test, and your dad actually hates your mom making her such horrible food, lasagna. Now, if he was passing the test, he would actually take her out to a nice fine establishment to get her like a nice fat juicy steak or whatever that else is, that's not lasagna. It's a test. It's like I know Emily's pissed off, and I go to Emily and I ask, "Are you okay?" And obviously I see she's not okay, and she says, "Yeah, I'm fine." That's a test. She's not fucking fine. She's not. Test.
Will we see the glimpse that we saw from Sentinels of that round 2 of domination, where they just looked like they had really gotten the number of SG there, Dogman, but sadly they weren't able to convert when they moved on a little bit further. I do think that the pick and ban is going to be absolutely integral for them here. I think you're completely right. I mean, Devil Dinosaur at the moment, yes, it's
Julie,
a focus
appreciate the massive
against a
2
team
months. I
like
hope you're having
Swamp
a great
Gaming.
day.
Their backline is insane. You can't allow them to have Gambit, but at the same time, Sentinels are going to go down the same strategy here. It is going to be a removal of the Devil Dinosaur. But that being said, if you also give Devil Dinosaur to Swamp Gaming, I think I'd be pretty scared with what they do with it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it so far, I guess. Like, they go for the Gambit Protect, but we got to start banning out things like some of the Vanguards, maybe getting rid of the Elsa, or sorry, the Emma, because, okay, they go for the Loki ban as well. Okay, that's interesting. But then I think the Phoenix ban coming through from Swamp Gaming is also smart.
How's the Loki ban interesting? You don't want to give the other team Gambit and Loki.
On top of having the removal of that Devil Dino's overhealth too, if they get the Phoenix. So they finally go for that ban. Okay, that's kind of a nice change-up. I like that out of Sentinels, but the problem is that it's kind of working backwards is my only difficult aspect of this. They still want to play front to back, but we saw, I mean, there were times when you kind of
they saved Star-Lord and they had the Gambit
useless,
chat.
Right? Like in the overarching scheme of things, when we looked at Midtown last time, obviously different map type, but I'm going to be very interested to see if this does work for Sentinels moving forward.
Yeah, by banning the Phoenix, you open up the Star-Lord, and whilst I was mentioning that Star-Lord maybe didn't do the job for Sentinels, they didn't have a Gambit. Gambit plus Star-Lord going into a Devil Dinosaur is a terrifying thing to have to face up against. You're going to build up that ult very comfortably, and you are going to be very difficult to take down, especially with the Raging Royal Flush alongside it. Captain America will be removed by Sentinels, and they will protect Invisible Woman, though. Again, just making sure they have something to use on that backline. And Swamp Gaming get one last ban after the Star-Lord Protect, which I'm slightly okay. Yeah, they take
My
down
wife
Phoenix.
makes some amazing lasagna.
Swamp Gaming
that's
now
not
with
even
Star-Lord
true, bro.
Gambit,
you're just saying she makes amazing lasagna because if you said it's shit, you're gonna be sleeping on the couch.
I mean, I just want to see if we can see we have like a Devil Dino team that can really capitalize from the strengths of that character. I think the difficulty for Devil Dino is, yes, he's really strong and he is incredibly broken. But I mean, some of the other characters got buffed, right? That's the tough part. Is like every Vanguard was slightly increased. With Phoenix being buffed, also a lot of the duelists have been improved. So you can still remove Devil Dino out of these team fights if you have enough damage output, especially with the Star-Lord, especially with Phoenix, because as much help as he has,
Jay Nova,
like, people don't really recognize how much, for example, like people are like, oh, Bucky didn't get a buff because he got damage nerfed elsewhere, but his bullet damage goes up. Same thing with Phoenix. Phoenix gets to 55 from 50 damage per shot. At the pro level, dude, like, these guys have such good aim and can benefit from having an increase of just a single damage per bullet. It really makes a difference, as we've seen so far.
Well, it's Swamp Gaming versus Sentinels. It's map 2, and it's do or die for Sen here on Museum of Contemplation. As they start to build their composition up a little bit, of course, they're going to be building around that Devil Dinosaur. It looks like they've got the Captain America for Crimzo as well, as it is going to be a Star-Lord versus Star-Lord, but it's going to be Rymazing once more on that Ultron, so not going to see him have the ability to play a duelist, although really, I mean, Ultron, kind of a duelist in his own way. But keep an eye on Melophobia on that Star-Lord, going to be a huge factor here for SG.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing is what to talk about for Swamp Gaming. I mean, I like what Sentinels did with the ban of the Captain America, at least, because Kraz was that good on the Captain America. But we'll see if they can adjust, right, with the Venom.
Okay, where's Rymazing? Is he on DP yet?
1-to-1.
GG's.
Melo goes aggressive to fall back, rather, to peel off the dive from Ryan. The squad rather to dive back onto Ryan, but they're able to get the KO onto Oasis through Daze, who is now on the Black Cat after that wasn't banned out first, like we saw. And maybe we get to see why Daze, also one of the best players in the world, on other heroes, but the Black Cat obviously a new pickup for him as she just released, and she's been incredibly strong so far in the ranked ladder, and Daze surely another guy who can play these melee characters at a very high level.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm very excited to see what Daze can do on Black Cat, because We've already seen what you can do on Daredevil. You're going to see more of it from the Black Cat. And sometimes it's even scarier with the speed of which Black Cat can move through. As at the moment, it's a race to ultimates with Mello and Yusha. And Mello has won it. He's going to be the first one to get ultimate available. And it's instantly going to be that Galactic Legend used straight away and focused a lot onto the starting front line of the side of Sentinels. And so much damage has been done, but not converted as you are ripped out of the sky by Rai Amazing. Rage of Ultron will now follow, and Sentinels look to force back SG.
Yeah, and I'm curious if this keeps moving forward like this for the side of Sentinel. As the Raging Roll flushing off his side in the sky, Yusha pops the ultimate. Looks towards that back scatter, slows him down though. Maybe they can get the KO onto him while he's being brought in by that Sonic Seduction, but no. Nice pocket to keep them healthy. However, somehow Swamp Gaming also have a good hero help to work with it. Going with the See You Later, popped in by Flameaze into his boundary, but can we find the KOs in the middle of it with Kraz's? Beast of the Abyss does connect, but it's only on a Dongman, it looked like, so only he's antied, but he's obviously a Vanguard who could soak all of that damage, also pops his own ultimate, finds Scatter, is brought back by a BRB, and eventually Dongman trying to find more, but they're playing such mobile characters, getting far away. At least they found Forky and Valentina, then Kraz, so slowly they've worked into it. Daze pops the ult, but can they find any KOs through all of this healing? Yes, you find two with Scatter, but it's not enough as this cart moves towards the very end of first phase.
I like the switch from
chat, you're not CC immune at Star-Lord when you're ulting,
moving over to White Fox, and it's very much worked out for them with Oasis now having ult available as well. It's going to be a portal from Krazman to get them right back into this one to deny that first point. And now SG, can they actually force them back? Bubble has to come out on the side of Dongmin as well to keep the rest of the squad alive. But Crimzo is just going to go onto the back line and be able to find one, but not able to actually convert it. But Valentina does go down to Oasis and just finishes up the pieces that were done. And it looks like Sentinel should be able to close this first point out because no one from SG able to get that pick they were looking for.
Yeah, nice work to just pressure off a lot of the damage in that fight. Mello had to fall back, and as did Forky, I believe, in that fight. So right now, Sentinel did a good job just taking apart the side of Swamp Gaming. And if they can keep it up, I like how you talked about how Oasis went over to the White Fox. Oasis definitely a huge pickup for this squad and was one of the best players in EMEA, and now coming over, you can see exactly why. The fast swaps, those fast changes are what we want to see out of other teams. They go aggressive now with Ultron's Rage, but Crimzo goes down early. Excellent sort of peel-off job from them, but the cart's still moving forward until about now. Daze finds another one, and Mello has to use the ult, actually, at the very end in the sky, so at least for Sentinels, they popped that ultimate, but still a fight win for Swamp Gaming.
Yeah, just speaking of Oasis, I was very surprised that he was let go from Team Heretics, and it's an instant snap-up. I think Sentinels will be delighted to be able to grab him and add him to their roster. I think whoever was able to get him would have been delighted, but the fact that Sentinels can improve on their performance last in preseason, they're looking like they might even be stronger coming into this. Even though they're down a map at the moment, they're looking a little bit more comfortable here on Museum of Contemplation. Yusha has the Galactica Legend available, but Valentina is going to pop the Raging Royal Flush as a response as well for the rest of the team. So no initial pick on the side of the Sentinels. The Galactic Legend is not going to work out for them. Instead, Yusha is going to be focused quite heavily, and look at the ult economy for SG here to use in this next fight.
Yeah, it's so much. Luckily, Flamme did swap over to that Rocket Raccoon and gets the BRB back for Crimzo, but everybody's just sitting above. Either it's the Venom or it's the Black Cat just hiding in the sky, but finally they get rid of Daze. Dongman does an excellent job tracking him down, but the BRB brings him back two. So while the offensive BRB brought back one, so does the defensive one, and this time you get two. Forky does get traded for Future, but Daze is still here. I mean, the problem is he's brought back and he's able to get so much damage on the Black Cat so far.
I think it's easier to kill Punisher in his ult than it is to kill a flying,
and follow up out of that Black Cat.
Cooling card still available for Daze as well to just be a nuisance,
especially in lower ranks where people don't look up or people don't know how to shoot at someone that's floating in the air.
For Rocket, but
yeah.
That's the
Star-Lord, I mean, not Star-Lord. Punisher, if Punisher's ulting and you're an enemy, you're a Punisher as well, you can literally walk up to the enemy Punisher that's ulting and then like two-shot him or one-shot him with a shotgun. It's actually really easy.
And there you have it. Flamme is going to pop that initial ult. And SG now, will there be a response? It looks like the answer's going to be no, because two members have already fallen, and they might just let this one go and keep that ult economy nice and healthy. Is Krazman going to be one of the last?
Also, Punisher's a lot slower when he's ulting than Star-Lord.
Engaged there by Flamme, obviously used the ult like you mentioned, and not much used on a Swamp Gaming side. Actually, nothing used, rather. Besides that, invis boundary for Swamp Gaming side, or rather, no, Forky switches off after they use the See You Later in that fight. So at least they go for that one-for-one trade, making towards the very end. 56 seconds left to go. They've done a good job holding so far, and they have so many ults to work with here. Kraz can get also a big Feast of the Abyss, whereas Crimzo needs to stall this out with his Capel and buy time for Rai to build his ult.
Oasis has Invisible Boundary as well to use on the defensive side. Yusha just got Galactic Legend, so there are going to be responses here for Sentinels as the ults now come out for SG. Forky Dog has gone down, so Sentinels are up in numbers, and SG probably reluctant to use some of these ults, but now here comes the Raging Royal Flush into Galactic Legend. A lot of Melophobia, but the response on the side from Yusha as well.
Oh! I mean, he does have the other ult, but...
shut down Melo, and it looks like Sen should surely be able to stabilize here, but there is going to be the reses coming out from Forky Dog with that Rocket Raccoon as they stay on this point. Do Swamp Gaming.
Invisible Boundary there by Oasis lets him win that 1v1. Traded for one, though, is Dongmin, and Scatter Portal from Crimzo here is just in the nick of time as well. Should bring back Dongmin to the fight. Same thing with Yusha, but Daze with the ult. That's 1, 2, maybe gonna find more. Can't get the reset, though, because he's looking at a Daredevil or Devil Dino, and nobody touches either. So Sentinels, they couldn't touch the objective, get it moving, and now Swamp Gaming hold.
I thought Sentinels was doing really well, and I thought they were going to cap, but okay.
They were forced back so much pressure from Swamp Gaming that no one was even...
It was a 6v4, but
for sure someone was
okay.
going to be able to dip a toe in or was just waiting around the corner. Alas, what a hold that is from Swamp Gaming.
Please.
Considering that Invisible Boundary had come out to allow that 1v1 to go their way. With the Star-Lord on Star-Lord action, I thought that was just going to be enough of an opening.
Right,
but it was
amazing
actually
on
the positioning
DPS,
from Swamp
please.
Gaming.
Sentinels,
It gave them
I am
so much freedom to
I
force
am
Sen back
begging you. Do it for one
Now,
round.
all
Do
Swamp
it for a
Gaming have to
life.
do is
Please
get
just
that
do it.
second point, and they will win this map and this series to go 1-0 up to start us off here in this group.
Yeah, a big thing that I'm noticing out of Swamp Gaming so far is, I mean, Daze is already not getting KO'd as much as we've seen other Black Cat players. I think he's slowed it down heavily. And if they do lose one of these fights where they pop a Stratus ult and also the Galactic Legend, they're only losing one. I mean, the players, especially this stage, it feels like people have really figured out you know, the exact locations to be, especially in this third-person game where they're playing around corners very well. Like, you see so many perfect angles now being taken by either Melo or anybody. It just feels like they're in the right spot at the right time, taking cover at all times. It doesn't feel like you have a free angle on basically anybody. And Swamp Gaming, I mean, they get it done, right? Like you said, just understanding when to flip the tempo and dive towards Sentinel's backline when they have advantage. They lost Crimzo in that fight early, even though they had Invisible Boundaries. So all of these sort of things are culminating in Sentinel slightly losing the series so far.
Here's something we're very familiar with. Daze onto Wolverine. Melo's going to be over onto the Moon Knight as well. So this is a very interesting composition that's going to come out. And as I've said, Moon Knight into Devil Dinosaur, I think, is one of the best things you can do, especially in your ranked games at lower levels in particular. But now you are going to see Yusha just trying to find the KO onto Melophobia. Not going to quite do so, but does force Melo back to the spawn. And Melo does switch back on
Emily,
over as well.
did you vote for Sentinels to win
Soldier
too?
is going to try and push instead, as still Yusha is applying set pressure at the moment. Has been such a
Let
thorn
me
in
do the
side
finances
to
of this
Swamp
household. I
Huge
feel
pull
like
as well onto Oasis, even waiting
we
for one to
would
come back.
be in
BRB
debt.
does bring them back, but Daze with the claws on the front line. Why does trade back?
you put
Valentina.
100K on
No
Sentinel.
BRB on the front line to bring them into the fight. So missing a healer. Sadly for them, they just want to go full, like, just destroy this Devil Dino comp. Or Daze just grabs the Captain America, but he's able to sort of bounce around.
Babe,
Can he live?
babe,
Nice work from
babe.
him. Also gets those rocket
I
kills across
love
the map,
you,
so crucially,
but
keeps
I
that
will
pocket up for him. In this fight,
never
Daze building up that ult
have a
pretty quickly.
joint
And
account
not
with
gonna
you.
fight.
I feel like
to get this health pack does as well. Like, just
What are you doing?
And he's getting protected. Pocket at the moment is so big onto Daze, and they just can't take him down, and Dongman will fall because of it. And Swamp Gaming will very much have the advantage here as Daze gets a second onto Amazing, and Sentinels have to fall back. And this first point is going to be easily taken by Swamp Gaming by the looks. And yes, it will be confirmed. Daze just tearing through them, slashing through them comfortably, making mincemeat of Sentinels right now.
this
It
looks
seems like everybody has to
disgusting.
funnel towards that objective where you're getting shot by Bucky with that damage upgrade, and then same thing with Daze onto that Wolverine. And you know, he's on the Bucky because of the Phoenix ban, and it's looked just as good. Able to deal with Dongman and crew, and like you said, I mean, kind of solo tanking, solo sort of stabilizing for Dongman's side. But once that shield's gone, once a lot of those cooldowns are removed, everybody else has to funnel in with this triple strat comp. And I think we haven't seen these triple strat comps.
We haven't
really
seen a lot of
succeed
Wolverine
so
in
far
the tournament
today.
as
It's
well, I
been
think.
2-2-2 to kind of lead unless there's that Mantis involved without the Phoenix.
Well, Galactic Legend is going to be popped, and it is going to be used to delete that ultimate as well on the side. But Daze finally gets taken down. Not going to be able to do the damage onto the Devil Dino he wanted to previously. But Dongmin is now going to fall, so it is going to be a 5 versus 5 as SG continue to push forward. And they do have Bucky ult plus, of course, Valentina with a Raging Royal Flush available for SG2.
I can see
As it slows down
Emily
a
at the
little bit,
casino.
'cause
I'll be like,
Sentinels
hey,
just back
babe,
away,
can you
but now
put
SG starts to press some more.
$10 on red for me?
Absolutely, just kind of walking towards
What did you
that
say?
front line, getting pushed
10,000?
and
No,
4
no, no,
minutes
no,
left
no,
to go.
just 10. Okay,
Basically, we have the
10,000.
game on their side.
And
The
it ends
Sentinels,
up being
you know, having,
Oh.
my God, The hook does get rid of Yusher. Excellent work from him. They pop the Raging Roll Flush to now capitalize off of that hook from him, but the BRB will bring back Yusher. Invisible Boundary also set back. Actually, Dongmin goes down. Too much damage with the Raging Roll Flush and Scatter, who has been phenomenal on the Emma so far. Do get to use that Ultron's Rage in the sky. Scatter does get traded out, at least so you trade one tank for one. But everybody else on the inside get a wait out. That damage and Daze now comes through on the flank. Found two in that giant ultimate from him. Brings back everybody. And the Groot ult as well, capitalized from Mello to keep it moving, keep it rolling forward as Sentinels fall piece by piece, player by player, as Dongmin is the last to do so. Be the dominoes
GGs.
that follow in that fight with 4 meters to go. Barely here in time with the portal, so they do touch.
GG's.
Kraken Impact was used by SG as well. Melophobia was able to get a lot of damage, but I think this is going to be the beginning of the end. No one really able to do anything from Sentinels out of the portal, and Swamp Gaming have just looked like the unbeatable force, just as they were in preseason. Swamp Gaming closes out 2-1 and close out the
Sentinels. I don't know if you guys are going to watch this. What the hell are we doing? Bro, if 3 supports is not working and you have one of the best DPS players, maybe we shouldn't throw him on a support. Maybe we should throw him in on DPS. Bro, I swear to God, does Sentinels play tomorrow, chat? Sentinels does not play for the rest of the week. Okay, Sentinels plays next week. I swear to God, if I see Sentinels not put Rye Amazing on DPS, I'm gonna rage. I'm gonna rage.
Sort of the same things that we learned in the first
time
we've seen Swamp Gaming.
Yoon, you put 250K on Sentinel. No, bro, you guys deserve to lose your money, bro. Nah, you guys are. I say this with the most respect to you guys. I love you guys, but some of y'all are dumb.